Introducing our most robust, high-performance cobot yet, the UR20, the next generation heavy payload, long-reach cobot.
IMTS Live 2022. You might notice this stand. It's big, it's beautiful, there's new technology, and you probably recognize this handsome young man, my buddy Joe Campbell.
Hey, good to see you again, man. Good to see you.
Always a pleasure. Let's start this whole conversation off with the world of automation and what we're seeing here in the U.S. because there's a major reshoring initiative. There's a skills gap we're fighting, and you have the technology to support all of it, which is incredible. I'm excited to talk about it, but I don't ever want to steal your thunder. Let's talk about this.
We have got a booth full of solutions, Tony, and that's the most important thing, right? We've got OEM partners and systems integrator partners who have built solutions for manufacturing automation. This is a metal fab show, so we've got a ton of metal fab demos running in the booth. We've got welding, cutting, machine tending, a whole host of really great demos. And I think your viewers are really going to enjoy watching these things come off live.
Oh, I absolutely agree. And I've been around this booth. You do want to watch this as we go from booth to booth to booth. Oh my gosh, the technology is amazing. Let's quickly talk about what automation in Cobalt world is doing for the customers. And then as you segue into the comfortability of how people are now adapting to what was a foreign nature at one time is now becoming second nature, right?
This market has absolutely exploded. And right now it's being fueled by the labor crisis in manufacturing. There is not a manufacturer on this floor who is not having trouble hiring skilled workers for their production operations. And that's where we step in. We love to do the dull, dirty, dangerous tasks that nobody really wants to do. That makes that factory more attractive to the young people who are coming into the market, the job market. And we're able to do the dull, dirty, dangerous tasks and let them focus on higher value-added production processes. It's a big win.
It is a big win. And before I go into the next question, we have loads of comments already just saying really nice things. So we want to thank you all for doing that, right? Joe, in your opinion, with what's going on here in the U.S., where do you see the future as we continue to adapt, as we continue to grow? Because you mentioned dirty, dull, dangerous, monotonous, these things, right? Yep. We're adapting to this. And let me firstly say thank you for doing that because I was getting bored back when I was doing the same repetitive thing. Anyway, what does the future look like in this world?
It is just continuing to expand, both in the small and medium enterprise, which, by the way, is about 90% of the manufacturing operations in the U.S., the bigger companies, right? Cobots are finding a home in all manner of applications. And the key is they can work side by side with skilled human operators, right? With all the safety protocols that we provide, they're a unique solution to that labor problem.
You're exactly right. How many times, and I've personally seen it, but this is your show, not mine. How many times have you walked into a shop, seen a ton of automation in there, and yet they're still hiring more and more and can't even find the humans to be there? It's not taking jobs, is it? It is adding jobs and productivity.
It is absolutely not taking jobs. It's enabling companies to be successful. You mentioned reshoring. That's putting even more pressure on the manufacturing job market right now as companies start to reshore their operations. They learned a lot during the COVID pandemic, unfortunately, and as they bring operations back, they need more and more resources. It's really putting pressure on. I think the other thing that we see is happier employees. Right? Nobody wants to do the dull work, nobody wants to do the dirty work, and particularly the young generations, it's just not attractive to them. But if we can bring technology into manufacturing and let them see how attractive it can be, we have a much better chance of attracting them into the manufacturing sector.
Absolutely well said. The standard of living is going through the roof when we think about things like this. We already have a comment for the contact details. Now, to me, it's all right here behind us, but let's be vocal about it. Where can someone find out more about UR?
They should absolutely go to the website, universal-robots.com. It is rich with content about collaborative technology, but more importantly about the applications and where we can help small, medium, and large customers alike.
Absolutely perfect. So for whoever asked that question out there, thank you for asking it. Those are the details. Hope it's helpful. If you need more details than that, please put it into the comments section and we'll follow up. But speaking about technology, Joe, let's turn around and talk about the North American reveal, shall we? I mean, this thing is amazing. Let's talk about why it's bigger, better, faster, more I'm going to use the word awesome. I have
like
to.
Awesome. Awesome's a good word. This is the UR20, and this is the North American introduction of this new product. It's the biggest that we've ever had in the Universal product line. It's got a 20 kilo payload capacity, 1,750 millimeter reach, and it is up to 60% faster. It's not just bigger, better, faster, it's also a radical redesign of the joint technology to make it more reliable and more lightweight than ever. We've actually reduced the part count in our key joints by 50%. And for those in the engineering world, they understand that's a big challenge.
That is a big challenge, and we do have some questions coming in, so I'm having Joe read them right now. As you guys look at this beautiful robot, a Cobalt, to make sure that it's something you want, we have excellent, how do I apply to work with you? We've got perfect, I've got applications of robotics for my future projects. Robotics simplifies life. We got good morning. Can we answer, are you hiring right now? Can we answer that question?
I have an easy answer, and it's a common answer. Go to the website. It's a fantastic portal, not just for jobs, but it's a portal for you to engage with us if you're a potential partner. We'd love to hear from potential partners. If you're a potential customer, there's multiple ways to engage. From the website, you can actually schedule a demo where we will come on site and bring one of our cobots, put the teach pendant in your hand, and show you how easy it is to use. It really is incredible breakthrough.
And that is the same website we gave earlier, right? Same place, same time. All right, let's get back to this technology as we're talking about it, as it's the big reveal. If I'm a potential customer of yours, or if I'm an existing customer who we're going to talk to in just a few minutes, and we know how many cobots he has, why would I look at this one, the new? Is it just because of speed, because of load, because of awesomeness like we use? Why would I look at this one first?
Yes, yes, yes. It's all of those things. Depending on what application you're looking at, it allows you to do more. It allows you to solve more problems in your manufacturing operation. If you're in the welding business, for example, the greater size lets you weld bigger parts. It's just that simple. If you're loading and unloading machine tools, you can handle larger machine tools in your portfolio. So it just opens up the total available market for collaborative automation, and that's a big win.
It's a massive win, but with that being said, you have so much technology. Universal Robots is always a leader on the forefront of innovation. Shall we look at some of the other technology that's around this booth?
You're going to have a great time touring the booth. I'll be with you for a couple of them, but yeah, let's go that way.
Let's do it. So with that being said, enjoy the next bit of content from my good friend, Fernanda.
Hi friends, I'm with Josh Pauli, co-founder of Backtest, and here behind us we have the Backtest Cobalt welding tool. So it's a very long name, but this will help welding operations to make them more easier, and Josh is going to talk a little bit about this. So Josh, tell me a little bit about this great Cobalt we have behind us.
Yeah, thanks Anna, great to be here too. So our whole idea at Backtest is to make automation easier for more folks, right? So make it more accessible, make it easier to use, so that you can automate more applications, offload more of those boring weldments, boring tasks, let the Cobalt do the boring stuff so that we can focus on the higher skill tasks that we enjoy doing anyways, right? So a lot of our customers are welders and fabricators that are using this to offload that boring stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's great because also it helps to make things safer, you know, because be safe, and this kind of operation is key. Yeah. So having this instrument with us will be very, very useful. I think we have some questions.
Yeah.
So let's give me a second. Okay, I have in common from Latin America that this is very innovating. So do you know when are these tools going to Latin America?
Yeah, so we're, Universal Robots are helping with cobots all around the globe, right? Okay. So, yeah, it's been great to see the adoption, in all over the world of, collaborative robots, and they're helping in all the different types of industries, all different types of customer sizes. So it's been really cool to see all that.
Josh, we have a demo, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think we can do it so people can see how this works?
Absolutely. So we're going to come up here. That's the whole idea, is to make it easier, more accessible, so that folks can get going with it quicker, right? So we're going to come over here and make a new program. To your point, I'm actually going to demonstrate that safety first, right? So that collaborative robot, right? I can pull this over here, drag it, and that's how I can teach it. I'm going to tell it to run into myself, which is kind of a crazy thing to do, but because of the built-in safety of the Cobalt, it's going to run into me and just stop, right? So check this out. Put my head in the way. It tells me, hey, I was using too much energy to get where I'm going. Get out of the way, tell it to go again, right? And so that makes it very approachable for more folks to use, and it makes it more flexible too, right? You can be more versatile with all the applications that you can tackle. And then we can come over here and make a quick little weld. I'm using that free drive jog again, right? Very intuitive way for folks that are welders already, right? I'm going to teach my weld start there, move it over here to my weld end, teach that point. Oops. Made a little quick error there. There we go. Teach that point. And we'll hit play. And this is going to do that weld right there, right? So the whole idea is when you make automation easier and more accessible and more approachable, we can all tackle more applications with it. Industries of all, or customers of all sizes. We got folks with one welder. We got folks with 10,000 welders. It's a tool to help you out in the weld shop, right?
And how easy is to program this, like for the Cobalt to do the welding?
Yeah, I mean, we just program that weld right there, and then, you know, if you get into multi-pass welding, if you get into aluminum, circles, compound paths, very quick and easy to program. We have a lot of customers that get their system in the morning, and they're making parts by the afternoon.
Oh, that's so great. It's very fast, and that will help us save time and at the end of the day produce more.
Yeah, and focus on the stuff that we enjoy doing more of, right? I don't want to do the boring stuff all day. I want to do the stuff that keeps me awake, right? So that's really what we're trying to help with the welding, the plasma cutting tools.
That's great, Josh. Is there anything else you want to tell to our audience before we finish with this part?
Yeah, I think the only thing is that the whole Vectus team, myself included, we really love helping fabricators. We get excited by doing that. So if you ever have any questions, we love to look at applications and say, hey, we think this could lend a hand in your shop. Feel free to reach out to us, and we look forward to chatting with you further.
Perfect. Thank you, Josh.
Thanks,
and we're going with my friend Rowan to the other side of the booth.
Awesome. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you I'm here with Brian. We're talking about Versabuilt Systems now. First of all, Brian, could you tell me just a little bit about the system as a whole, please?
Absolutely. So this is a complete CNC machine tending solution. Everything you need to quickly deploy a system, get it in front of your CNC, and get parts in production. The system uses our multi-grip technology, which is the idea of the CNC work holding and the robot end effector being the same thing. So you can see the robot has the second op jaws right now. It's actually doing a first to second op transfer, which multi-grip uniquely enables. We invert over the part with a pocket that matches the half-cut geometry of the workpiece. The vise lets go, the gripper grabs it, and it simply flips it over and presents the other side of the part to be machined in another vise.
That's brilliant. Let's go and have a quick look about the double gripper. But while you're getting that, Dave, come over here and show how we can flip the part over. We've also got 2 questions come in from the stream, so we can have a quick look at those and find out who's been, because we've got a lot of people talking to us on the stream today. We've got, what kind of price point do these Cobalt start? Oh, I'm not sure. I don't know, prices are always a bit of a struggle, aren't they? Well, I'm going to ask you, so from Cogsdale on YouTube, what price point do they start at?
Basically, UR robots, and I'm not a UR employee per se, but I do
you're
have
treading on thin ice here,
yes,
right?
That's right. So, but they range in price from about $30,000 to about $49,000. This UR10E is at the higher end of that range. Wonderful robot, incredible cobot.
Okay, brilliant. And also, how can you solve an offline program? So how can you calculate robot lifetime hours and loads of, so look, they're asking about time studies and how you, before someone brings one of these and decides they want one of these on the shop floor, how you do a time study to show what kind of cost benefits there are and the return on investment.
That's right. That's a really great question, and there's a lot of ways to measure payback or ROI. Everybody kind of has their own formula. What I really concentrate the customer on is the cost of the part they're making. And the fact is that the machines are relatively inexpensive, and it's the labor that's actually expensive. So if you're optimizing the amount of labor, and that's exactly what the mill automation system does for the machine shop, you're going to get the biggest benefit.
Absolutely. So if people want to get in touch with you or robots or any of their integrators, including Versabuilt, they'll be able to handle the cost-benefit analysis. I'm sure you've got loads of spreadsheets on your computer, Brian, that handle all of this.
I want to talk about it.
Yeah, he's got the spreadsheets on him. He's there. He's there as a maths whiz. So moving more into the technical side of the of the system, I love the fact that you can do op10 and op20s, and you can see them being flipped over here. But how do you actually set the parts up on the grid plate here, Brian?
That's a great question, Rowan. They're actually just visually located. So we don't do anything complicated. We want to keep it as simple as possible.
Get a quick look down here on the grid plate down here, Dave.
And you can just see how this part basically is aligned to this corner. Boom, it's ready to be picked up. Doesn't have to be within, 30 thou. An eighth or 3/16 of an inch is fine. It'll find it, and the jaw design will accommodate that part, and it'll find the datum.
And why didn't you choose, I mean, you mentioned Vision Systems. For people that don't know, can you explain what Vision System is and why you didn't choose and why it's okay? I mean, it's so simple and easy if you can set it by eye,
That's
but why
right.
didn't you choose a Vision
We
System?
try to keep it simple. Vision gets a little bit expensive, and it adds to software complexity. And as well, not all machine shops are brightly lit, just making seeing with the camera very difficult.
Absolutely, and this is a good kind of 2D form on the part here, but with a Vision System, if you've got like a big complex form on the 3D,
That's
it's
right.
out, some bits are out of focus and it's hard to find.
Especially when your camera's on shiny metal. It can be
Absolutely,
difficult.
yeah. They'd have no chance in this booth, would they?
No, they wouldn't with this wonderful lighting.
Yeah, exactly. So again, talking about keeping it simple, I mean, a grid plate here is really simple to just put parts on. What about the actual integration with the machine control? Now, like you said to me earlier, that integration is a bit of a dirty word. Why is that, and how do you make it a clean word?
Well, the fact of the matter is that installing one of these systems requires us to interface to the machine tool, and so we've gotten quite good at it. We have a simple interface that cycle starts the CNC, that calls the G code that runs on a per op basis, and then monitors an M code that we set in the machine tool to let us know when the cycle is ended and it's time for us to go make our transactions with the mill table.
Okay, so simple systems, and with those simple systems come much less complexity and less chance of maintenance issues and the robot going down, because the whole point of this is these things running day in, day out.
That's
and
right.
Overnight when people aren't running them.
And not just with one part, but all of the customer parts. We want them to quickly introduce the rest of their parts to the system. So we've definitely made some trade-offs to keep this a flexible system that's easy to introduce new parts and just runs very simply and reliably.
Okay, and that's fascinating. If anyone's got any more questions for Brian, please get in touch. We've only got a little bit left on this segment. So, okay, I've been told, unfortunately, we've not got much time on this segment. So keep your questions coming in. Thank you very much, Brian. That was Brian from Versa Built.
Take care, everybody. Appreciate your time.
Hi, I'm with my friend Mike DeGrease, and he's going to show us that Universal Plus, that it has some tools, components, and solutions. But I'm not the expert, Mike is. So Mike, tell us about the solutions that Universal has to offer to us.
Sure. Yes, so Universal Robots Plus is all of the tools, the kits, the components and solutions that touch the Universal Robot that are not the actual product itself. So it's everything that makes the Universal Robot be able to accomplish applications in the field.
How does this increase productivity like in our plants?
Yeah, so the Universal Robots Plus ecosystem allows you to use various components to either grip parts, torches to weld, sanders to actually buff parts. Basically, it's the ability for the robot to actually solve the application. And what's really unique about UR Plus is the ease of use element. Our Universal Robots have become famous for being easy to use. UR Plus is the extension of that into the tools and third-party accessories.
So UR Plus help make the process even easier than what they are, right?
Yeah, UR Plus will help make applications even easier to automate with extremely easy to mount tools, program, and like I said, even into full solutions.
Can you explain some of these tools that we have right over here?
Of course, yeah. So this is a magnetic gripper from Schmaltz. We have it sitting on a millibar quick changer, so you can quickly mount your tools up and clip them in repeatedly. This product here is from OnRobot. This is a 2-finger gripper. OnRobot's a very close partner of Universal Robots. The UR Cap software integration to the robot makes programming this gripper in particular very easy. We're also showing another tool changer on the other end from Grip, which is a German partner of ours, another high repeatable tool changer. And then the product here on the robot that's moving is from a partner in Asia called Impact Robotics. This product is called Pneumagic. It allows you to control various style pneumatic end effectors from one airport that's going to the end of the arm.
That's amazing. And these are not the only products from UR in this booth. Like all the Cobalt has a tool from UR Plus, right?
Yep. So everything that you're looking at in the booth today is some form of a UR Plus product. So all the way from welding and cutting to sanding and buffing, grinding, pick and place, machine tending on the other side. Everything in the booth has some element of UR+.
Yes, they can help you to almost every process we will need to do, right? Like you have a solution for everything.
Yes, so UR+ can help accomplish virtually any application you run into.
Perfect. Mike, is there anything else you would like to tell to our audience about these products?
Yes, so where UR+ has been historically has been in the business of components, right? Putting grippers, even some small bundling of components together like applications kits. And where it's going, and we're really excited about this, is into full solutions. So partners like Vectis, like Robotique, Columbia Okura that are doing palletizing are creating UR+, not just components, but actual full solutions for customers that solve the application.
I mean, it's so great to not only sell a product, but offer a whole solution to the client. So whatever question they have, they can ask to you and you will have the solution for them.
Yeah, yep, it's a very exciting time to be part of UR+.
Thank you, Mike. So we're going with Rowan to the other side.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Live now, ready to go. I'm with my buddy Sherwin. Sherwin, is this real? 30 universal robot cobots in 3 years with 5 more on the way. Is that a real story?
That is a real number. We have 2 plants in Iowa. One has 19 in it already. The other has 11 with the last getting implemented. They're not quite running. And 5 more that should deliver this week.
That is incredible. Before I ask you the next question, just want to thank everyone for all the hellos and greetings and watching. Keep those comments coming. We want you to know exactly what's going on with UR. I know Joe loves it. I know Mehdi loves it. Everyone here wants to educate you on these projects. So with that being said, when you went with UR, we're talking 30, 5 more on the way. You have a ton of DN solution machines, but how did you make the decision to go with UR over all the other options that might be out there?
Well, we have some history in robotics because we do robotic welding and have been doing that for a lot of years. So we have a fleet of 40 welding robots. That's kind of our history. So we purchased 3 cobots from 3 different manufacturers, implemented them into our lathe tending, we call it, actually loading parts into a lathe. And from there, we ran them for probably 4 to 6 months in the different applications and went back and looked at how much it had taken us to implement it in the first place and how well they ran, whether or not they kept the machine uptime, because uptime is everything. It is the last goal, you know. So that was the important part. And when we got done, the URs were a clear leader in being able to stay up and running and letting us get them online quicker. You know, because we knew when we started this that the number was going to be big, because we have a lot of spindles turning and we have a people shortage like everybody else. And it's not that we're replacing people, but we put the cobot to load a machine, and now that operator has the opportunity to maybe be running 2 machines. Or in a couple of cases, we've actually taken an operator with a high volume part, and now he can actually take care of 3 lathes. So it's kind of a combination. It's not a people replacer.
No, it's definitely not, Sherwin. I can absolutely appreciate that. It's kind of funny because the next question I was going to ask you was, can you give us some examples of the successes? But you kind of already did. People being able to run more machines, machines running all the time. When that green light is blinking, we're losing money, right? We want that thing to be running all the time, full speed.
You can't make money if your machine's not turning.
Well, I'm going to give you an opportunity here, Sherwin, just to kind of let the world know who you are and who your company is, for more work to come in, kind of give maybe your website a small history about how you were created. I even heard they flew you to Denmark and you're about to retire, but let's give the world a shout about who you are and what you've done.
We are Rosenboom Manufacturing. We build hydraulic cylinders for OEM manufacturing. We do not put our name on them. They go to like Case New Holland. The big names we put our cylinders on. Basket, like utility company basket trucks, forklifts, skid steers, all of those companies are using our cylinders, and because of their growth, we are growing and need to keep in line and be able to keep up with our customers' demand.
Absolutely perfect. So before I throw this over to Fur one more time, good grief, guys. You're doing a wonderful job sending in all of these comments. I just got to say, great show from Jesper. Greetings from Colombia. Hello from Spain. Great super cobots. Let's see, are these mainly geared up for mass production? I will let somebody else answer that fully, but I know that to be true, that it is for small batches, high mix. You can do whatever you want with these things. I've had so many conversations. We'll let the other folks talk more in detail because this is their expertise and not me, but it's important to understand high mix is okay. Even one-offs on these machines, they're just so easy to switch over. Let's see, how can you solve an offline programming solution? Oh my gosh, there's so many questions. We will get to these. And I'm actually sending this over to Rowan and not Fur. So with that being said, Rowan, take it ahead.
I'm here with Dan from PCC Robotics. We've seen loads of fantastic applications today. But Dan, tell me why the Pro Feeder is one of the special applications for UR Robot.
Well, if you're going to invest in the world's greatest cobot, universal robots, you might as well attach it to one of the best bases in the business, Easy Robotics, which is another great Danish company.
Okay, brilliant. And we're looking here at, we've seen previously kind of a grid plate where you'll place individual parts on and you have to line them up with the grid plates. Why have you chosen to go for kind of negative little slots to put your parts in?
I mean, the key thing with any kind of job shop automation is changeover's got to be fast. So with a plate like this, an operator could populate these parts in a few seconds, call up the machine program that they need, and get their operation started and walk away. Start with a grid plate full of raw material and come back in 30, 40 minutes with finished parts.
Okay, and let's have a quick look. So the grid plate's easy to change over, which we can see because you could have different billet sizes, you just machine your own grid plate, easy as that. What about the grippers though? I mean, these, how do these make it easy to change between different kind of 10 off, 20 off batches?
Well, they're intelligent, and as you can see, they're programmable, right? So I can choose different size parts. It's easy to program how I'm going to grab them. Another thing with a dual gripper is we come in here, we're going to place a piece of raw material, machine, we're going to place a finished part, go get another piece of raw material. When the doors open, it's a race against time, right? I got to get my finished part out, I got to put a piece of raw material in, I got to get the robot out of my machine so I can close it, because if I'm making chips, I'm making money.
Absolutely, the whole point is maximizing that spindle uptime, right? Absolutely. But it's not just spindle uptime, it's not just once this thing's running, the performance in process. What about the training, the setup times, people who've never seen these robots before, who may be watching on the stream, and if you're watching on the stream and you've got any questions for Dan or for any of the people coming up, we've got loads of more welding demos, panel bending demos, get those questions in. But for people who are a little bit daunted by the look of this system, how do you guys as integrators, you don't just design this, how will you help them to take on this quite daunting investment?
That's a brilliant question. So a lot of the people that we work with own machine shops, they're not automation people. They don't have four-year degree engineers on staff. So we're going to come in and we're going to spend a couple, 2-3 days. We're going to get that first system running, get it running well, and then we're going to do an extensive knowledge transfer so that somebody in that operation is going to be able to own this thing. They can troubleshoot it, they can set it up to run the next part. Ownership is the key. I got to be able to look that owner of the business in the eye and take away all the risk so that he can get himself into automation and get back to making money, because it's all about labor efficiency now. That's 100%. You cannot have a guy standing in front of a machine, loading it, closing the doors, hit start, and be on his phone for the next 7.5 minutes while the machine cycle runs. Absolutely. That's what it's all about.
And I guess there's 2 points there. Let's talk about the cycle times, because people they're not always going to be running like 14-hour cycle times for big aerospace parts. Most people, again, like you say, have a 7-minute cycle, which is just not possible to run over and run another machine while you're doing that. And this is a real enabler for that kind of thing. But moving back to also the training, you gave a great analogy, is you kind of hand over the keys, right? And that makes me think of a car. And you don't give like a 14-year-old a set of car keys, do you? Or even a 25-year-old who's not got a driving license. So you need to make sure that these guys have got the right license, the right credentials, the right training, so they know exactly how to drive one of these correctly. Can we just talk about the programming and how you would change the process of how you would, let's say we're running some hollow billet work here. What if you would then want to move on to do some square work? What would the actual process look like?
I mean, in any kind of setup where we're going to work with a grid plate system like this, or we're staging parts in an array, we use tools that UR gives us, like the pallet routine. Setting something up like this from a programming standpoint is going to take me like 2 minutes. I'm going to teach 4 corners, I'm going to tell it how many parts I have, it's going to do all the interpolation for me. So UR gives us those kinds of tools. And quite honestly, when I'm talking to a customer about an application, we almost never talk about the robot and we almost never talk about the programming because it's so easy, it's an afterthought. We talk about part staging, we talk about gripping, we talk about work holding, we talk about auto doors and interfacing to the machine and material handling and cycle times and unattended machining time. We don't talk about the robot because it's awesome. That's it.
That's a real testament to the UR Robotics that what would be such a complex part of the system actually is an afterthought, or not an afterthought, but you don't have to worry about that. You have to worry about all the other little bits and pieces, devices, and everything you've just listed there. Thank you very much, Dan. Just one last quick question. If people want to get in touch with PCC Robotics, where do you serve? What market?
We're pretty much in the central part of the United States right now in Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, and Illinois. Sometimes New Hampshire. So we're expanding.
So get in touch with PCC Robotics if you're in those areas. If you're watching the stream and you're enjoying it and you want to find out more about these robots, ask a question on LinkedIn, on YouTube, wherever you're watching, send us a comment. Even if you're enjoying the stream, let us know. Over to Fer for another fantastic application.
Hi, right now I'm with Brian Knopp, and he's going to talk us a little bit about the Cobalt Systems. This one that we have over here is a laser welding machine, and it's pretty nice, and I want Brian to tell us more about it.
Hi, this is Brian with Cobalt Systems. I'm here showing our laser welding Cobalt technology. So what we have here is an IPG laser welding source tied up with our UR10E collaborative robot, and I can show you how easy it is to program.
Yeah, can you do a demo with me right now?
Absolutely, happy to.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
So what we've done here is created a software plugin which is called a UR cap, which lives inside of the UR robot controller. And we have you can hook up the Ethernet cable to the IPG light weld and set the IP address, and you map the laser I/O, and within a half an hour you have a laser welding cobot.
That's pretty easy and fast.
Yeah, so I'll show you how easy it is to program. So in order to set the points, they're called waypoints, we can put the robot in active drive, or it's essentially like a neutral, and just guide the robot very easily by hand to set the point that you want. And then you just simply store that point in a waypoint and set a move command. Like that. And then we can add another waypoint, and I can put it back in neutral and just move it back, to another point like this, and set that point. So now we have 2 points that we want to weld.
Okay.
And all I need to do is set the laser welding parameters right here. So we can set like an A3 program, and we can set the power level to, say, 700 watts. Let me see here. We can set the wobble frequency and also the wobble length. All of these parameters are the parameters that are set on the front of the laser welder.
Okay.
But because we're using the Cobalt, we don't need to touch any of that control. It's all done through the software. And then we just run the program from the beginning. And it'll just basically go in between the 2 points.
Okay, can we repeat that so you can, David, see how the machine goes to one point to another? I think it's pretty nice. And can we also pre-record a movement? Like, can we move the Cobalt around for where we want it to be and record that movement so it will do it again?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a feature here that's called Active Drive, which is also a plug-in. It's manufactured by Robotique out of Canada. And Active Drive allows you to actively move the robot in space. So you can basically move it anywhere you want. For example, if you wanted to weld this shape here, we could we can put the laser here and follow the shape and come down. And you can record that path, and then it'll basically repeat that with the welding process.
That's so amazing, and that makes processes so much easier and faster. And I mean, having this technology in plant will save us a lot of time and money also. Also, what I'm seeing here is that you make this with this machine.
We make that with our IPG plate laser machine as well.
They're pretty nice, and it's like one of the best business cards I have ever seen. Like, I think people will engage a lot with this kind of technology.
Yeah. So this was actually cut on our Bystronic BiSmart 3 kilowatt machine, which has an IPG laser source on the inside. It does the cutting and the engraving. It actually does that whole entire thing in less than 45 seconds, believe it or not. So it's really amazing technology.
That's so nice, Brian. Before we finish this interview, would you like to add something else?
Yes, I would just like to give a real-world example on how effective this technology is. So for example, this part is a real production part used by one of our clients. It was previously done by hand with TIG welding. It would take 90 minutes to weld this by TIG using manual processes. And with that, there was a lot of difficulty because of the heat. This would warp and turn into kind of like a banana. And with the Cobalt, with the laser welding technology, the customer is able to reduce the time down to 6 minutes and eliminate the distortion. So we went from 90 minutes to 6 minutes with the automation.
That's a lot of time saving. So I think this is a great machine. I just fell in love with it. And we're going to row on to the next Cobalt.
I'm here with Josh from MidAtlantic Automation, and he just told me just off camera that he's the one who designed this whole system, so he is the man to talk about it. Now, Josh, can you give us an overview? What is the robot? What is the Cobalt doing, and what is your system?
So our system we specialize in the automation of sheet metal fabrication. So our robot's bending parts here, and what we're bending is a cell phone holder to give away to people coming by. We use the Universal 10E Cobalt as the base of this platform. And then we designed our proprietary machine control interface, which allows us to talk to lots of different machine tools. The end-of-arm tooling you're looking at right now is one of 2 patent-pending gripping systems designed by us.
Brilliant. So this system is, I mean, I've seen what I guess you would call a panel bender. I don't know what you call it in the US, maybe it's the same thing. And you give it the panel, you walk away, it does it all for you. But it's a big, complicated system. It takes a massive space up in your machine shop. Instead, here we've got a press brake and a Cobalt.
Yeah, so you take up a lot less room, and furthermore, the Cobalt can do other things. If you don't need it on a press brake, it can run your finishing machine, your hardware insertion press, and do many other jobs for you. So it's very mobile and cost-effective.
Absolutely, cost-effective, especially because those big panel bending machines, there will be a significant investment, and also the investment in the floor space in your workshop as well. And we can see there's kind of 3 different sections to this. It's the central section here, and this is kind of the brains of the system, right?
Yeah, so that's our modular robot cart. We pin that in place using 62 Rockwell C drill bushings and dowel pins to the floor to locate it to the press brake. The cart itself then is able to be removed using dowel pins that are removable.
These things here?
Yeah, so you can pull those pins, and you can have 3 or 4 carts, so there can always be one at your punch press or your laser for breakout, one in transportation, and one at the robot for bending.
Brilliant. And let's take it a step back and think about the sheet metal shops that will be using this. I mean, you've got 17 success stories with this system already. And what problems does sheet metal shops face that you're trying to solve here?
They just can't get the labor. They can't run the machines on the off shift, and with component availability, machine availability is also an issue right now. So you can actually keep your system running through those other shifts that you couldn't man. So it's been very versatile for that.
Absolutely, but it's not just the fact that, because some sheet metal shops will be getting these, this is, I mean, you imagine this is a large order, this could be, I don't know, a 500 off order, but sheet metal shops, especially smaller ones that might be looking at a small press brake and maybe a Cobalt, they need to be reactive as well. How does this let them be reactive?
So with the 2 patent-pending gripping systems we have here, this one's for large parts. We can build hundreds of different gripping configurations with this one standard kit provided. The other gripper we were showing on the robot also helps us with that. So it comes with 3 standard tool plates. When you want to change a part, you just take 2 screws out here, and we go ahead and we change that tool out. So
there's a quick change system if you've got different kinds of plates.
Here you have a 50 millimeter repeating hole pattern, and we provide dowel rods. Now you don't need a mechanical engineer on staff to design a fixture for everything you do. we simply find 3 points of tangency and we allow that to just fall down and be self-fixtured.
Brilliant. I'm absolutely blown away by this system. If you're a sheet metal shop and you're struggling to find the labor and you're struggling to find people who want to work overnight even, because this Cobalt's going to be bending all night, get in touch with MidAtlantic Automation, get in touch with Josh or the rest of his team. If you've got any questions on the stream as well, I mean, I'm afraid I can't give you any more questions for Josh, so I've got to hand it over to Fur, or Tony, I'm not quite sure who's going to be showing you a brand new application.
Now I'm with my friend Josh Spruce from Kane Robotics, and he's going to tell us about this great machine, Cobalt, we have right over here, that help us to do some polishing, right?
Yes, polishing, sanding, grinding. We basically say any material removal you need to do, we can handle with our systems. This is our Grit XL, so our extra large system. We can do very large parts, 15 feet long, everything from a fighter jet canopy to a helicopter blade, a large piece of furniture, or even just a flat panel.
So we can help a lot of industries with this, like aerospace, automotive, home goods,
Many industries, yes. Industrial woodworking, semiconductors, we have customers in those areas. So any industry that's doing sanding, we can help.
How easy is to manage this Cobalt with these very big parts?
So the big parts, very easy to manage. They get mounted in the middle. This we call the gantry system here. It moves back and forth along with the part. So when you sand one area and you're done, you can just unpin it, slide it along this rail, pin it back, and it'll keep sanding.
Yeah,
we have this touch screen interface here where pop-ups come up and tell the operator what to do. So instead of leaning over something and sanding for hours and hours on end, the operator is loading parts, changing the sandpaper, looking whether it needs to make another pass. It can go right here to the touch screen and make that happen.
Yeah, that's pretty easy, and it will save us a lot of time, right?
Very much so, yeah. We see 30 to 50% savings in the cycle time for sanding, especially large pieces that take many hours. We have one that went from 12 hours to 3.5 hours.
That's a lot of time saving. Like, imagine you're saving up to 6 hours in that process, right?
Yes, yeah, huge time savings.
So, and
the robot doesn't take a break.
Yeah, it can work 24/7, right? And how are the finishing of this polishing or sanding that the Cobalts do?
We can do everything from a mirror finish polish to just sanding wood or metals to get ready to be painted. So everything in between. Let me show you here. We have different tools, so we can put any kind of tool that you would need to sand or to grind or to polish. We have a quick disconnect changer, so we can take this sander off, put this grinder on. Anything that you need to accomplish very fast, very quick.
So we can change our tools very fast, and it will give us a great finishing work, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, before we finish with this, John, is there anything else you would like to tell to our audience?
I just want to say, sand with robots, not like robots.
Perfect, John. And we're going with Rowan to the next Cobalt machine. Cobalt.
I'm here with Rob from Hybotic, another one of these fantastic applications. It's a shame we're going to have to be wrapping this stream up at some point, but this is another welding application, Rob. There's something very special. You've got an iPad there. What's that got to do with welding?
Yeah, so thanks for having me. We are the only system built for welders, so we abstract away all the complexities of robotics and robot programming. Customers use an iPad, a tablet, whatever to set up a part. So can I go through it and show?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to see a demo. You were like, Rowan, this is so easy. We can do it in 5 minutes. No, you're on the clock, man.
So I'm going to go into this robot. I'm on an iPad. I'm going to create a new part by hitting the plus sign. People know how to do this, whether you're a 3-year-old or a grandfather.
Absolutely. We all know that software demos are always the worst thing to try and do. So if you get through this, I'll be so impressed.
I'm going to choose some weld procedures from a library that
So that's like a company set of parameters
that up and say parameters across multiple robots. And now we're in teach mode. So I'm going to grab the robot. We've got 2 buttons on the back side here. One is to move the robot. One is to do interaction with the software. And I'm going to teach a couple points here real quick. And I'm going to teach a linear weld from here to here.
So you're setting points that you want to go from in a linear motion.
Yep. You notice I'm not having to interact with the software now, right? I'm just moving the robot. Now I want to have an air move. So I'm going to press and hold this blue button. The software toggle to air move.
So we see teach air moves there.
Yep. And now I'm going to hold it again. And it's going to switch back to linear weld on the software. And I'm going to teach another linear weld here.
So then we go from one part to another part.
That's right. And I'll just put in 2 points here. And maybe I want to have another air move back here, so I'll switch it back.
And then so this is all about your welding here going slowly, and then you're going to almost G0, like rapid away, and you go straight back down to where you need to.
Exactly.
Oh my God, and it's that easy to do. I guess you can do like radial moves like GO2, GO3 on a machine tool.
I'm going to set that part on a playlist. We use terminology that welders are familiar with. Playlists, just think of like Spotify or Apple Music.
I love it. I like a bit of Deezer.
We've queued it up. We told the robot this is what we want to run, and we hit play.
Oh my God, is that it easy? Oh my God, I've not seen a software demo go that smoothly in a long time.
We try to make it easy, right, so that anybody can use it and teach a part fast. The faster you can teach a part, the more variety that you can run in your shop.
And I love one of the phrases you mentioned is you write software for welders, not for robot programmers. What do you mean by that?
So a lot of the complexity and terminology, we abstract away the complexity and we use terminology that people are familiar with. People understand playlists, people understand parts. When you start talking about programming, it gets a little bit complicated, right? And it can be confusing. And so we spend a lot of time making on usability and ease of use for welders.
Yeah, often I've heard it from a lot of the people we've been interviewing today is that the problem is not the solution, as in the problem is not the technology you're using, it's all proven, the mechanical stuff is proven, the software control side of the robot is proven. It's just a daunting investment, the amount of money, the amount of capital they have to invest, and the worry that they might not know how to use it.
That's exactly right, and not just on day one. What if they hire somebody new? What if the person they have leaves? So ease of use pays benefits for years. One other thing that we have, right, is like it is cloud connected, and so if a customer wants to add parts and put an attachment on their part, why would they want to do this? They want to have setup instructions. Oops. We'll just put in maybe that's setup instructions, and we'll say use this. And so customers can upload drawings and parts and things like that.
And that's really useful because I worked in a machine shop before. There's loads of cases where someone's left you a note from the night shift and it's on a post-it note and they've said tool length is this, and maybe because someone spilled some coffee, you can't read the tool length. You got no idea what it is.
Parts and images and drawings can be associated with the part in the same software that people use to teach and run the system.
Okay, so if someone knows how to use an iPad, they know how to set this thing up.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's absolutely fascinating. I mean, I've got to say, I'm not a welder, so I would definitely stay away from this still.
But did it look pretty easy?
It did look, to be fair, I want you to let me have a go on this. Once we finish this stream, definitely, I'm going to have a go. So if people want to get in touch, what markets do you sell to?
So we sell across the U.S., Canada, Australia, and soon Europe, but people can reach out to us at Hybotics on our website. We've got some partners in different regions that we can hook you up with, and we ship all over the world.
Great. So if you've got any last-minute questions, the stream is about to finish, but if you've got any last-minute questions, get in touch with your Robotics. And get in touch with Hybotic if you're interested in that fantastic solution. Over to Tony.
As the final presentation on this live stream on the Universal Robots booth for IMTS 2022 is with my buddy Ryan Weaver and Robotique, as you can see. Now, I'm going to clarify this before Ryan gets into all the technology. What you're seeing here is a simulation of a turning center, and the interface you're seeing from Haas right here can be on any machine, but I'm not going to steal Ryan's thunder. I'm going to let him talk about that flexibility, the sensors that are here, and everything that's going on this machine. Ryan, how are we? And let's get to talking about this technology.
Yeah, doing great. Glad to be here. Thanks for having us. It's exciting to be here because we just launched this Robotique machine tending solution only a few months ago, and this was built over 10 years of working with collaborative robot technology, making it easier for people to deploy machine tending applications across the world, and we've kind of taken the next step into a more complete solution this year. So,
well, you've been working with UR for about 14 years, I believe you told me. You mentioned just now over 10 years, design, that kind of thing. So let's explain to the audience what we're looking at and how this is actually working for them to improve their processes.
Absolutely. So we're simulating here is a turning center, so a lathe. We've got our chuck right there. The robot is inserting that part there. We're holding it with what we call our dual handy grippers. They're IP rated, so that we don't have any worries about loading and unloading into an active CNC. And we're actually going to do a lot of these tasks in an automated way, but the same way that an operator would, right? So right now we're closing that door. We've removed the finished part. We're going to put that back down onto our tray, and we're going to get ready for the next task. And the way we do this, as I said, is just like an operator would. So we're using eyes, our hands in a way, instead of kind of wiring everything in an invasive way. And I'll explain why that is beneficial in just a moment. But I'll talk a little bit maybe about what you're seeing. So if you look up at that stack light there,
Let's move on over there so we can really point out to the audience what's going on.
Most CNCs, you're going to see this kind of a stack light up here. So right now we're blinking green. That means the robot knows with these sensors here, the robot can see that the machine is in process. As soon as that light flicks to amber or yellow, the robot's going to know, hey, it's time for me to open up that door again and switch out those parts, so that we don't actually have to wire anything in. So it's going to get ready, it's going to go ahead and open that door now. And there's no invasive wiring for us to do into the machine, which, as you alluded to before, means we can work with any kind of machine at all. And that's just part of that hardware. And so the next thing after we load that new part, we're blowing that part off right now with air to clear off those chips. We're going to remove that part and insert the next one. And then the next thing that you do as an operator after you load a new part is you got to close that chuck, right? So down at the bottom here, if we look down, you'll see our what we call our foot switch activator. So you got a very standard foot switch. I don't know if you could just hear it there, but you can probably see it even move. And we're actually popping that right onto the front so that just like an operator would step on that foot pedal, the robot's going to automatically do it. And again, that also lets it so that if I'm an operator, I can step on that foot pedal myself without having to change anything special about the machine. And then thirdly, once we load that part in, the operator's going to push a button, right? So that's exactly what the robot's going to do here. Automatically, we can push any button with our button activator there. And again, it's a non-invasive way to interface with that machine instead of having to wire everything in, which would be specialized to each brand. So if you've got a Haas or a Fanuc or a Okuma, a Mazak, whatever it is, you're going to have a different interface to every machine if it's a traditional way. Well, the way we're doing it, you can have that interface with any age machine, any brand machine, and it's going to work the exact same way. So scaling CNC automation in your factory just got a whole lot easier.
It makes sense. I mean, flexibility is one of those key words we hear all the time. How flexible can we be? To me, when I see these sensors, I hear you say, we can do it anywhere, any machine. And just for the audience that's watching, how many of you machine shop owners, machinists out there, when you walk through your shop, is it all one brand? I imagine probably not. So something like this, Ryan, is where you can go, I can support you on all your machines to support the labor difficulties we might be having or whatever is going on with, okay, let's implement it easy, quickly, flexibly. Flexibly? I don't even think that's a word, but you know what I mean. And with that being said, let's move over here to the software because I know you want to talk a little bit about that as well.
I think the hardware is the easy thing to see, right? But so you were talking about, it's real hard right now to find people to load and unload these machines. And if they're not running for you, then they're not making you money, right? And so that at the end of the day, you got to keep those machines running, keep the spindles turning, and as we say, keep the chips flying, right? That's what we want to do here. And in order to do that in a high mix, low volume application, you need to be able to change over quickly, right? And having this interface is a great way to get started, but in order to change over quickly, you need to have the right software. And so the way that we're working, as you mentioned, over a decade with Universal Robots, we're very used to integrating into their software interface. So we've built our machine tending co-pilot. A co-pilot is someone who sits along with you and helps you through the process, right? So we're the co-pilot for the person who's deploying the automation in the machine tending cell, and we're going to guide them through that process. We're actually able to take what is normally, even on Universal Robots, a 6-8 hour process and boil it down to 40 minutes to deploy the teaching process on one of these cells. And when you talk about high mix, low volume, you got a lot of changeovers, right? Changeover is now from about an hour process down to 10 minutes or under to change over a process. So you can go from machining one part to a totally different kind of part. 10 minutes, you're running that new automated cell, so you don't have to switch anything up.
Well, Ryan, it sounds coming out of your mouth really easy. It makes sense. I want to buy 20 of them, right? I mean, for everything I need. But for someone who's just getting started, how quickly can they be trained and learn something like this? How quickly can you install it? How quickly can a machine shop adapt, even for someone that's, say, brand spanking new into getting into automation?
Absolutely. And part of what we can do to make that a lot easier, Universal Robots has their UR Academy, and we have all of our e-learning all online that focus on the step-by-step, not only to learn the robot itself, but learn the whole machine tending solution. So you go through a few different hours of online classes. You can do that before the system even arrives on your plant floor. And as I said, we can add all of this onto the machine, deploy the robot. We're talking about a day, and you're up and running automated.
Day sounds good to me. Ryan, very well explained. I do appreciate you joining us on this live stream. You are amazing. Guys, let's walk over to Joe to finish this whole thing off, kind of go with the closing statement. I do believe that there are a couple of questions that have come in that we'd like to answer. Is that all right with you?
Bring them on. Let's get them out of the way here.
Bring them on. I love your attitude all the time. So the first one is, what's the load lifting capacity of the arm?
Well, I'm not sure which arm they're referring to, but our product line goes from 3 kilo payload capacity to 20 kilo. We have a 3, a 5, a 12.5, 16, and 20 kilo payload capacity.
I hope that answers your question. If it does not, UR is really easy to find. Shoot them a message, go to the website. I absolutely know that they'll respond right away. Second question for you, Joe, is, oh my gosh, it just got updated. Give me just a second to flip.
More.
There's always more. They keep coming in. It's amazing. Thank you for doing that, by the way. Second one is, I want a robot manufacturer or distributor partner in Australia for my company. Is that possible?
That is easily accomplished. Please just go to the website, universal-robots.com, and you can go to a section called Find a Distributor, and we will identify a distributor based on your postal code, whatever country you're in, and make the connection.
Absolutely perfect, David, out of Australia. We appreciate you sending that in. Seems like it's pretty easy, so go ahead and do that. Joe, do you have any final thoughts, comments, ideas that you'd like to share with the audience as we close this whole thing out? You've all done an amazing job, and your booth is booming. I can barely even walk through here at this point.
My final comment is, bring us your business problems, whether it's labor or quality or production capacity, growth. Bring us your business problems, because that's really what we're about. We love automation, but at the end of the day, we're solving problems for business owners, operators, general managers, and we'd like to hear from you.
Solutions providers, problem solvers, forward-thinking people, a great team around the world. You said it really well, Joe. Thank you all for watching. This is UR, as you can see. Everyone is enjoying themselves here at IMTS 2022. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for your comments, and we look forward to seeing you again very, very soon.